This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then this is the subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Not that long ago, and depending on where you live, not so far away, Loot Crate blasted off into a voyage across the galaxy, searching the far reaches of space to find universally awesome gear. Using December's Star Wars The Force Awakens loot as the launchpad, we landed on some equally cosmic items from Halo 5 and more. With an exclusive Funko Pop and an exclusive shirt in this month's crate, this is the loot that you're looking for. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend who knows what you love and surprises you with an awesome present every month. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. And now you can showcase your geek chic style with Level Up, a monthly mystery apparel subscription from Loot Crate. You can get 2 different pairs of high-quality socks, 1 to 2 fashionable accessories, or a wearable item like a long-sleeve shirt or lounge pants. Same themes as Loot Crate every month, and it serves as a great companion to your loot because there's no repeats. Each month's theme is inspired by all your favorite pop culture brands like Star Wars, Doctor Who, and Fallout 4, and often contain high-quality exclusives. So go to lootcrate.com/KFG promo to learn more. Use code KFG promo to save 10%. This month's theme is Galaxy with Star Wars items perfect for Jedi, Padawans, Rebels, and serious fans of Star Wars. Serious fans. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 49 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by 2 of the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, and the other one, Anthony Carboni.
Yay! Hey, I'm the other one.
Yeah.
There are 3 people in video games.
No, they just all suck.
You're like the coolest dude in like just science and stuff. You're the cool science guy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's untrue too, but thank you.
It's gonna be it's a good time.
It goes Ken Ham and then Anthony Carboni.
Bill Nye's
In
somewhere.
the halls of science.
Right. Ken Ham.
Bill Nye.
No. Ken Ham,
doesn't get
Anthony Carboni, Isaac Newton,
The Mythbusters.
and then Albert Einstein.
The Mythbusters.
Where's my boy?
Stephen
Where's he
Dave
go?
Mythbuster.
He's not
the
on the list.
Mythbuster.
He's just not on the
brother.
list.
Yeah.
He doesn't make the cuts.
No, Bill Nye doesn't make the cut.
I don't know.
That's
about
harsh,
that.
man. That's a
Yeah.
harsh way to play
I
him.
once ran into Bill Nye at New York Comic Con.
What does
He
that
was
mean?
surrounded by, almost literally ran into him.
People
Okay,
just
okay,
chanting.
okay.
Bill,
He was
Bill,
must have been to
Bill.
some panel. I was going to, I think, our panel maybe, and he was surrounded by this entourage, which I found myself like caught in for like a moment as it was walking through, and he was like literally like, it was like literally like this for like 2 seconds. And I was like, oh man.
And that was the moment you're like,
You're
you're
not
off the
cool.
list.
Yeah, Bill Nye, you're done. You're
My
no
God.
Ken Ham.
Wow. Real talk.
I'm okay. For people that don't know, Ken Ham, he's a creationist, and Bill Nye and
They
Ken
did a
Ham
debate.
debated, and it was the fucking funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So this is a show where we talk about video games.
This is a show
Sometimes
about
we
Ken
talk
Ham
about
and the
science.
creation versus evolution debate.
You
wish it
know,
was.
all that stuff. Go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to get the show early, or go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to get the show not early.
Good.
The next week.
I like
That's
that.
all- that's
It's
all you
simplified.
need. Yeah, exactly. It's good. Where can they find your stuff?
My stuff, We Have Concerns is the podcast I do with Jeff Kanata every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at wehaveconcerns.com. And then I am on YouTube, youtube.com/acarboni, which I have just started a Patreon for, which is patreon.com/acarboni.
Look at us.
Synergy.
So much Patreon, so much YouTube. It's good.
You ain't cool unless you have 2 Patreons, is what I heard. I heard
true.
all the cool kids have 2
true.
Patreons.
Yeah, it's very
Exactly.
true.
All right.
So, first topic of the day. We got a boy here, one of the coolest dudes in video games, a.k.a. Trending Gamer, a.k.a. Game of the Year.
AKA Big Trend Daddy.
Yeah,
AKA
exactly.
Big Trend Daddy.
I like that. I like that. So I want the topic to be the Game Awards.
Right.
But specifically, like we could talk about, Witcher 3 won. There was a couple announcements.
Which, of course, your boy Greg Miller predicted beat Colin's ass in a bet.
Surprised me too, though. Witcher 3 surprised me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The argument was back in the day between Colin and I is that I said on a Colin and Greg live that Witcher 3 would win a Game of the Year award. And he said, no, it won't. And then we listed on the boards 10 sites. 10 sites. I was like, from one of these 10 sites or programs or whatever, it's going to win.
Not your finest moment.
I've not been having a good year.
Not your finest moment.
And then number 1 at bat, Jeff Keeling. There it is.
You had to have known that the odds were against you on that.
Oh no,
one.
I did, but I like making bold assertions.
So that if you get it, you can say you were right.
Exactly. And if
yeah.
I'm wrong, we just throw it in the pile. I mean, who cares?
I like it. I like it. So, okay, obviously, there's a lot of announcements. We'll Independent game, Rocket League.
Right,
So
huge.
congrats.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We saw
That was a good
Psychonauts
slate.
2.
That was a good slate of indie games.
It
this
was.
year.
It was. Psychonauts 2 announced.
Yep.
Big deal. Big. Some people would be happy about that. Shadow Complex.
Yep, I was really excited
Yeah.
to see that coming back. Hopefully, it's a harbinger of things to come in terms of a sequel. Yeah.
Walking Dead Michonne.
Yeah.
I like that this is working out. Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. No, my God, that was
No one's excited about that.
my God. Not even
What?
Shaq. It is going to be
Why?
fire though. According to
Shaq was awesome.
I don't know. I didn't like that.
Oh, what?
The game.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Upsetting.
I'm
Like,
saying Shaq
I
was
don't
fun.
think the game is doing what it should be doing. Like, I don't
like
even
it.
think it's hitting that like.
I just like the Shaq model's traps.
Uh-huh.
Like he had these they put these shoulders on the Shaq model.
Yeah,
where he's
shoulders
got a
on
head
top
like
of
this.
shoulders.
Yeah, it was just like 14. Like they were just like, how many muscles can we put on the human body?
Do it.
All of them.
All of the muscles. Telltale's Batman game.
Exciting.
Some people are excited. Some people aren't excited.
I tweeted out a picture of Fonzie jumping the shark because Telltale needs to just disappear for a little while.
Can
I'm
I-
getting sick of it.
Can I tell you why I'm excited about it?
Please do.
Because as the Arkham games have gone on farther and farther, and they become more about like how many people can Batman punch in the face within 13 seconds,
Sure.
or how many rockets can he shoot out of his car. I like the idea of a Telltale game that can maybe give a little bit of depth and credence to the actual detective part of it and to the Bruce Wayne part of it, which is
very much so.
completely missing from the Arkham series. So that's kind of why I'm interested in it. But
It's
I
wha-
see where you're coming from on the
It's too
Telltale
much. It's
fatigue.
too much.
It's the
too
same
much.
reason I was excited when they announced the Marvel games is the fact
Yeah.
that now you can take these and have them in a more comic booky way where I'm going to be reading along, making choices, be internalizing what I'm about to and what happens when I go on.
Without a Telltale game, you can't make for instance, like a Spider-Man game that has like some of the most iconic Spider-Man scenes of all time, which is like Peter and Mary Jane talking about whether he really has to take on so much,
Sure.
or like Aunt
Sure,
May,
sure,
and like
sure,
all
sure,
this
sure.
stuff. You know, this you can really get into the more
it can be a
human side of the
story.
character.
It can be a
Yeah.
cool story. Yeah.
And Greg always says, but it's just like you just don't need to play the ones. Play the IPs that you like and not the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into
And
it
just
right
try
now.
to
Yeah.
forget
We
about
talked
that
about
Jurassic Park one they made. Just forget
Hey,
about
that
it.
was-
Yeah, I remember that was right before The Walking Dead, and that was
Not a good sign.
yeah, not a
There they
good sign
came
for them
out.
at all.
And
But
there they go.
I don't understand. Like, I really do feel like that studio is, that is going to fall off a cliff one day. Like, it's just I eventually feel like it's too much.
It
It's
can't
too
keep
much.
going with the games being as similar as they are. You're right, because right now they have an engine, they plug content into it, and we're going to get to a point where everybody's like, "Oh, I know what a Telltale game is," and I'm not very interested anymore. And they'll have to switch it up again. I think they've got a couple years before they have to do that.
Yeah, NeoGAF's not always indicative of mainstream views on games, but I remember when that was announced, I immediately went there just to read what they were saying, and it was very mixed. Some people were excited, some people were like, Jesus Christ. And one of the things I was talking about on PS I Love You that I didn't realize, having not played a Telltale game in a couple of years really, but reading a lot about it, is that for a lot of people, like, their shit's still broken, and eating saves or just chugging along, but whatever it is. And to me, it's just like, I wish they would just disappear and like really hone the engine and make it run better, because I was under the assumption that it was better at this point, but apparently for a lot of people it isn't, and so I don't know. It's just like when you see too much of anything from someone or from something, I don't care if it's like different IP, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's just who wants an album from their favorite band 3 times a year? Like, who really wants that?
Yeah.
Because then it's not special anymore. Then it's not interesting. Telltale's not special anymore. They were really special with The Walking Dead. And I don't feel like.
I mean, this isn't the topic,
so
so we can save it for another time. But I mean, the argument just is like, my favorite band isn't Telltale. It's Walking Dead.
Right.
It's Tales from the Borderlands, and I'm not going to get another Tales from the Borderlands for 2 years, if ever. I won't get. I'm not going to get to see another glimpse into Clementine's life, if ever, for another year, probably.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Instead, I get a 3 episode arc about Michonne that fits into the comic that's happening right now. I'm like, oh fuck, that's awesome.
Rock Band VR. We saw that for the first time.
it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
New Uncharted trailers, Far Cry Primal, Quantum Break, stuff like that. We know, right? Then Nintendo we got Reggie doing the nice
Iwata tribute.
Very nice.
which was very nice.
That was a
very
great
awesome.
moment.
But yeah, so okay, that's pretty much it. Game Awards. We've talked before on Colin Greg Live and other things about how we thought about that. I want to hear your story, Greg.
Sure.
Tell me, you were there.
I was there, Tim.
You
and I
weren't
won.
watching on the internet. You
I
were
wasn't.
whatever.
I was there in
Oh,
the
did you
seats,
do a thing there?
butts in the seats. Yeah, I was winning. Holding my hand, winning. Trending Gamer of the Year. Yeah, that's right. Thank you all for your support.
Big Daddy Trend.
This is the first time we've done this
Big-
podcast since then. Thank you all for getting out there and voting. That was what I think my favorite part of it was. is that I ran into so many familiar faces and friends there and this, that, and the other. And if you weren't following along with us as kids tweeted me like, hey, you have 67% of the vote right now.
Wow.
Like you look Total Biscuit's behind you with 14 or whatever the hell it was or whatever. It looked like I was going to win. I'd actually think about it. When you got there and you talked to normal people, like the Mustards from Chair or whatever, or walking in, even with Troy Baker. I'm walking in with Troy and I'm talking to Troy or whatever. And it was very much like, oh, well, congratulations on the nomination. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, just wait for it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, because like
Well, was everybody there just like there's no way? Like you don't
well, I mean,
have this?
it was the way I was setting it up too
Yeah.
a little bit. I'm just
Okay.
like, oh, I'm like, oh, you came. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm nominated. Like, oh, I didn't even know. What are you nominated for? Trending gamer. What's that? I don't know, it's most popular gamer of the year kind of thing. Oh, who are you against? PewDiePie and Total Biscuit. Okay,
Never heard of
good
them.
shot. Yeah,
Never
you know what I mean?
heard
the
of
kid
them.
from South Park versus you, the guy who just was drunk screaming about Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna give it a best effort out there. You know what I mean? And so. That, I mean, on paper, the story I was telling, you know, from back in the day I got nominated was Tim and I sitting there at the kitchen table, and I was like, I want this, but should we go for it? Because I don't know if we can do it. I don't know if, you know what I mean? Because it could have easily been at some point that PewDiePie or Total Biscuit could have been like, hey, everybody vote for me in this. And then it would have been a game changer, a different thing. Sorry, I know you put it back symmetric. But
I think it says something. I mean, a lot of these guys, yeah, like, yes, they have a bigger audience. Yes, they're pulling in more raw numbers. Like, yes, like the media comes to them for their sound bites or whatever. But I think it says a lot about like you guys and your connection to the community and like your connection to the people that actually watch the things you view. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I totally. No, that's what for me, this was like not only an amazing end cap to what 2015 was for us, it was like that culmination and statement of how powerful our community is. You know what I mean? That we do have this community of best friends, and it can be that like, hey, I want this. I was very open that I wanted this. You know what I mean? And that I was campaigning. Like there were so many people that were all bent out of shape on Twitter that night, right? Or even afterwards, of just like, oh, IGN clearly bought this for him. I think you think it's funny and da da da. And I'm like, you can like, and I only responded to one.
IGN bought it. Okay,
As a parting gift.
Way to keep up. Way to keep up.
I only responded to one person about it. I'm like, hey man, I understand, because he wasn't being like offensive about it. He was just calling to question how this could have possibly happened. And I'm like, I dig that, but like all the metrics and analytics are public. You can just search the hashtags and see what's up.
Well, and that's the thing is like I was telling you that like I saw so many people that were just kind of like not our people, just people that were coming in and being like, and they're posting all these screenshots of analytics that they were searching for like trending searches and stuff, and then your hashtag was like spiking way above everyone else's. It's like the proof is there.
Yeah.
Like this is not. There's no voting. There's no what. I mean, this is like actual.
Yeah, this is fan voted. It was a popularity contest, and the way I kept describing it to people, and you laughed earlier at a Simpsons joke, is that it was very much I thought of like when Bart ran for class president. Where 1 for Martin and 2 for Martin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone assumed Pew or somebody else would win, so why even bother voting?
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'm like, everybody vote for me. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Da, 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 and everybody got behind it.
Because like you said, you started off this whole anecdote with I wanted this.
Yeah.
And then you went for it like you wanted it.
Yeah.
Was it you that was retweeting? Somebody was retweeting, and I fucking loved it every time I saw it. It was just somebody was kept retweeting every tweet that said, "Who's Greg Miller?"
No, I didn't. That wasn't
Somebody
me.
was doing it, and I loved it. It was just like, "Who's Greg Miller?"
I only saw one come through, and I just responded, "Trending Gamer of the Year." Period.
What's up? Yeah, big trend daddy. I'm trying to make that stick.
Okay,
like
I think we can make that stick.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. It was like night and day before and after. Because like when I came in, right, like Steimer and I check in, we got our badges, we walk in with Troy and Laura, and we're coming in, and they're like, oh, let's get on the red carpet. And Troy was a presenter, so he's also a huge name. So he had like a handler, right? And so like I didn't have a handler. I was just like dropped in there, like, here's your ticket. All right, great. So like we just kind of merged my group into their group. It was like, hey, yeah, okay, real voice actors who are doing things. So like, yes, lady, we're running with them. Da, da. So we get to the red carpet, and we're stacked in this line, and it's me, and then Cliff Blazinski and Laura behind us. Then it's Sean Lade, and like all these different people are in line or whatever, right? And then we're almost to the front of the red carpet, and the whole walk up to this, the handler had kept saying, "All right, cool. And if you're not gonna walk the red carpet, you can just come with me over here, and we'll go behind this thing." And like nobody would move. She's like, all right. And then like finally as we got like to the like diving board moment, she's like, so do you want to come with me? Are you going to walk the red carpet? I'm like, yes, I'm nominated. I don't know how many times. I'm not joking. I'm really supposed
Why
to
would
be.
I stop here?
Yeah,
Of all the places to
Yeah,
stop,
yeah.
why would I make this the line?
Yeah. And so Laura Bailey, Troy, Cliff, everybody's there or whatever. And like they're about to all go. And then it was like, wait, hold on. Like a guy runs up with a little headset and he's like, hey, sorry, everybody. Deadmau5 is about to come through. And they're like, we need to get the person, Camilla Ludington. She's about to present an award. We need to get all those people through. And quiet for Metal Gear, Stephanie. And so it's like they brought all these real people in. So then we're all just standing there awkwardly because these people are like presenting or doing something. Deadmau5 is eating a sandwich on the red carpet, doesn't give a shit, clearly. You know what I mean? And like I have this moment where I'm standing there and they bring Stephanie in next to me, quiet from Metal Gear. And I look over and we make eye contact and I'm like, hi. And she's like, hi, I follow you on Twitter. And I'm like, I know, I follow you too. Like, this is awesome. We're finally meeting. And I'm like, oh. So then I go down this red carpet and people actually stop and take photos and ask me about what's happening. I get interviewed by a couple of different people and different things.
Like Variety?
Yeah, Variety interviews me. I never saw it go to print, so don't worry about it. Then I make IGN interview me.
Really?
Yes!
Who did it?
It was Joshua. Joshua
Oh,
Yale.
really?
Joshua Yale was
that's
on the
awesome.
line. He had his back when I was coming up on him, but he'd already seen me. So I just walked up and stood there, and he turned around. He's like, "Oh, hey!" And I'm like, "Hey, interview me." And so we just did a bunch of
amazing.
bullshit questions or whatever.
That's amazing.
But then we go through and like you come through to the front, and there's the AMD VIP area or whatever, right? And like we're VIPs. I had been invited to this. I was already talking to Carl Stewart, who used to work at Crystal Dynamics and now works over there, I guess. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then we get there, and they're like, it's like pandemonium of people, like real names on the outside and real names on the inside. And it's like it turns out if your badge doesn't have this sticker on it, you can't come through. None of our badges had stickers on it. It was just like, oh, okay. So it's like this awkward thing of like one person's going in and like all these other big video game people and publishers and developers are standing out there, and like Cliff and Lauren, of course, obviously get in. Laura Bailey and Troy and I are like, what do we do? And like Steimer's there and she's like, yeah. And then Justine came up, and it's like this weird moment of like all these people. And like that was the best part about this is like leading into it, it was just hanging out with all my friends, right, that we've made over the years of doing this, IGN Up at Noon, all these voice actors, all these developers, all these people. It's like a reunion, right? But I'm like for the first time like in with them, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just covering it. I'm like, I have a horse in this race. Yeah. And so we got there, and finally we're like, all right, well, let's go sit or whatever. And so now the handler believes that I'm nominated and will help me to the seat or whatever. She takes me down the seats that are on our little thing. We sit down, Steimer and I there. In the front, you saw it a few times on camera, but like the stage is going up is flanked by pits of fans, like they're like real video game fans. So when I walked in, they went crazy. Like they actually knew who I was. I was like, oh fuck, that feels
That's
good, because
awesome.
I was afraid it would be like, who's this guy? Like it was on Twitter, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I started taking photos and hanging out with them for a little bit, and then I went and sat down. And so we're sitting down and the show starts and people are still like trying to get back and forth between all the different places because like they were closing the doors when it was live or whatever and not letting people come in and sit down and stuff. So it's going on. It's going fine, blah, 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 blah. Laura Bailey had only come to watch the debut of the Uncharted thing because she had another engagement that night. And she had like, but when she had heard it was about to play, whatever, she came back down and they wouldn't let her back in. So she didn't get to see it on the big screen to begin with. And I was like, jeez. But I'm sitting there. And finally, I get a text from Greg Rice from Double Fine, and it's you need to get to your seat. And I've been in the seat for like 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, delayed text, weird, whatever, no big deal. And I thought he was saying it because they're getting ready to start the show or whatever. Which pre-show, I'm sitting around talking to fans, I'm talking to developer friends, actor friends, and it's so fucking mind-boggling to look up and see Nick.
I know.
Like, because they were running the pre-show in there, so it's like Nick talking about Metal Gear and all this stuff, and then you pop up about Mario or me.
That's
or like
awesome.
all our
I fucking
IGN
love it.
friends, like Jared and Miranda Sanchez are up there. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. But so I get this. I finally get this Greg Rice thing. I'm like, oh, no big deal, whatever. And I'm sitting there, and finally this the handler comes back by, and she's like, you're in the wrong seat. And I'm like, this is the seat you put me in. Or she's like, it was a mistake. You need to get in your seat so the cameras know where to go for your thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, where is it? And she's like, it's the one behind you. And so like I was in like 2A and I needed to go to 3A. And I was like, all right. And so we get up and like this was like the pandemonium or whatever. People running around freaking on headsets. So first off, she says that and then just leaves. And so I stand up and I turn around and there's they have seat fillers obviously for people who are going and move around. So there's a woman in 3A and I'm like, hi, sorry, I don't know if you caught that. Like I'm a nominee and I'm actually. She's like, oh, no big deal, no problem. She goes over to the other seat, and so then I sit down, but I do like the knee thing and I'm like, to the guy that was next to her. I'm like, hey man, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that, but I need to move seats over here. Would you mind switching so my girlfriend can sit next to me? And he looks over at the seat in front of me, looks back at me, and goes, no, I'm not gonna do that. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I like my seat. I'm not going to move. And I'm like, that's when I full on sit and I turn to him like, are you nominated for an award right now? And he goes, no. I'm sorry. Now this kid just thinks I'm some other motherfucker that's just like.
He just thought you were like another seat filler.
Seat filler who's like, you know what, I want to sit there. So he pops up and Christine comes and sits down and then the show's going, that all happens, and like this kid like lucks out, of course, because we were seated so we'd be next to Troy's wife, and Laura Bailey, and so like those people come back and sit down, and you can see the kid doing like this, like he knows at least Troy and Laura or whatever. It's like all right, fine or whatever, and so then it goes, and then finally like you're waiting for this award, and which it sounds like waiting when it was like the first 15 minutes or whatever the show. It wasn't that long, but this guy runs over and he's got the headset on and he's like, you're Greg Miller, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm glad you're in the right seat now. I'm like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? You told me to, whatever, no big deal. And then they set up the camera and like I noticed by this point, and I eventually would like start winning bets with Troy, because Troy's like, who do you think's gonna win this award? And I'm like, I'd look around and be like, it's gonna be this game. He's like, oh, and I think it's gonna be this. And then the game I would say would win, he's like, how did you know they're gonna win? I'm like, they put a camera on whoever's about to win. And so like there was a cameraman set up there for me, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And then Sean Layden came out or whatever, and I was like, Sean Layden would be a great pick to give Greg Miller an award. Sure enough, he's there to give Trendy Gamer. And so yeah, like there's that moment of like for me, time slowing down of like when he's like, and Trending Gamer of the Year is, and he like opened it and read it for a second, and then he's like, Greg Miller. I was like, poof. And like the thing about it was like I was saying earlier, to catch up to this long-winded story, right, is that there is like a legitimate excitement and craziness to our friends in the industry that I've won, because nobody thought. I don't, you're a big-time developer voice actor. You're not keeping up with this is fan voted. You're not keeping up with the percentages. You just saw my name up with PewDiePie, who you know from South Park, and you're like, oh, good for Greg. You know what I mean? Blah, blah. And like, because literally, like, it goes off, and it's Troy and his wife jump out of their seats and go fucking crazy for me. And I was like, that's an awesome moment. And then like the crowd had erupted too. And that was a weird thing of like, when they're doing the interstitials, like the little vignettes leading up to it, right? Like there's cheers for each one of them, but like you can hear even on the recap. I've watched it. The thing.
Have you?
I'm sure you have.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those like, is that a real moment?
I watched it like 10 times.
Yeah, what are you wearing and where are your hands when you watch it?
But it's like there's like this loud pop for me. You know what I mean? Like then when it happened, like that was when it was off to the races. Like I think that was the moment of like, I don't think anybody thought it was gonna happen. It was gonna be this thing.
Can we talk about the speech?
Sure.
I would like to talk about the speech, because from the outside, I don't know how much you shared what you were planning on doing with these guys. I don't know how in on it you were, but
they came in 2 nights before when we were waiting to do Batman v Superman, right? And I was already drunk, and
Greg's
I was watching
I'm
watching the YouTube credits for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And that was like the moment. And then like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Because if something goes wrong and I don't win, I don't want them to be like, I'm plotting to thank this Nicole Tan woman.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw a tweet from you that was like, you better do good or something like that, which I was like, that's a very Colin tweet, but I wonder if he's already seen what Greg's about to do.
No, I didn't know. I mean, my big thing was, of course, Greg spent 90 seconds thanking a woman he's never met, but just kind of glossed, over me, which is, it's fine.
Wow.
It's not a big
Wow.
It's not a big deal. I mean, I've just been with Greg for like 8 years, but it's no big deal. I thought it was really, I didn't know. And that's why when we were even talking about it, I think on Colin and Greg, I was like, let's save the story, because I did ask you, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like when you were just watching the Tomb Raider credits.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it was
you
weird.
beat the game already. I'm like, what are you doing? And I didn't think twice about it. I just thought, well, Greg's doing a weird Greg thing. But I thought the speech was quite poignant, well delivered.
Yeah.
Really, I don't think it was done for this reason, because I know Greg very well. I don't think it was done for this reason, but very good for Greg optically, in terms of turning it around to be about someone else or other people and not about him.
I mean, and that's the thing that I was kind of thinking about, is because I did see some sort of some people thinking on Twitter that it was like a very calculated move. And I think
when you look at Greg Miller, you think calculated.
Yeah, he's.
I think a lot of things, but
supervillain Greg Miller
plotting to take over the video game
using
industry.
us as chess pieces. But it did, like, it was. I think those people are the sort of people that would have thought that about any sort of genuine outpouring emotion that they had seen on the stage. And I think it says more about what we're used to from the Video Game Awards. I think this was the first year that we saw Video Game Awards that felt more genuine. And I do think it's because it was removed from television and put a little bit more into Jeff's hands. And so I think people are just so not used to seeing somebody who genuinely cares that much, who genuinely felt as much about the community and the people who make the games. And I thought it was a brilliant speech. And I don't think it was because it was calculated.
Yeah.
I think it was just like, oh, this is somebody who's actually reflecting what people are thinking, watching this thing, if they care about games. And I don't think we ever had that before. So I thought it was a wonderful speech, man.
Thank you.
I mean, and that to me, that it was perfect. It was literally perfect. I've already told you this off camera, but it's like, it's insane how good of a job you did. Just not even just the speech, and not even just, it was like every single moment of that was perfect. I'll never forget me and Colin just sitting in the living room watching, and it's like we knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna win,
but we knew, you know.
Yeah,
But it was that moment. We both literally out loud were like, yes, like it was just like fuck.
Yeah, it was so.
Yes.
I felt such a swelling of pride, like for you, and even though I bust your balls about it all the time, like I texted you a long missive after you won and congratulated you and told you how proud I was of you and stuff like that. Because I love busting your balls publicly, but we don't. I mean, we that's our thing. But, But I was full having worked with you so long and knowing how important certain things are to you and how important your persona is and the way you treat people. And we always say you're the yin to my yang or whatever, where it's like I don't really like attention. I don't really want the limelight. I don't really want that kind of stuff. You take that burden for both of us, and you deserve to be recognized. And I thought it was a very selfless and very stand-up thing that you didn't make it about yourself at all. And that's why at our panel at PSX, I wanted to make it about you because I think that you lost your chance per se to make it about you. And I think that you deserve to have something about you. So that's why I asked everyone to give you a standing ovation, because I think that was what you deserve to begin with.
The speech, I mean, it comes from two places that are the same thing, right? I mean, when it was clear that or not clear, but when it was like, okay, I have a real shot at winning this might happen, I needed to think of something. And for me, it's not lost on the fact that outside of the esports team of the year and me, everyone else on that stage had something to do with making a video game and making that, you know what I mean? And so taking that idea when I started thinking about what I wanted to say goes back to a YouTube video I wanted to make for this channel and never got around to because we're so busy. For months, I've wanted to do, actually, I can even trace it back to the moment at Sony Santa Monica, when you and I went down for the God of War live stream. At the end of it, Tank brought us out and gave a speech and gave away PS4s to some of the participants or whatever. But he thanked us there and everybody clapped for us. And I thought it was so weird that they were clapping for us when they had done everything for, they had made these games and da-da-da-da-da. And it is that thing that, we're internet famous for talking about their things when they never get the recognition they deserve. And it was cool to be on the other side of Sony Santa Monica for that long, and not just a press event, but to be there
hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I had come back from that trip wanting to do was a video in here one day after all the shows that was just me talking to the camera, saying a 30-minute version, I'm sure, as I tend to ramble, of what the speech was, of it's not lost on me that this is unfair, that I am famous for this and you create this art that, influences me, but I'm popular. You know what I mean? I had this weird relationship with PlayStation, especially in the way that people think PlayStation, they think Greg Miller, but I don't work for PlayStation. And you know what I mean? All I do is talk about the games they make and stuff like that. And so I'd wanted to make that video. And what I had been struggling with was the message of it. Because what I wanted it to be was a chain letter. I wanted to make an unlisted, unmonetized video and then send it to all the developers I think of when I'm like this, and I'm share this with your teams, and say that in there and be very clear. This is not to do not sub to us from this. Do not do that. You know what I mean? This is strictly to thank you and let you know that you are touching, lives and changing lives. And I understand that. And I want to thank you for that. But I had wrestled with how that was, and we're so busy and da da da. So when it got to the point of fuck, I have a chance for this, it was like, well, let's do that there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's do this on a stage. And it wasn't again, when it's funny because when I came back the next day, you're like, and we're up this much on subscribers for the channel of this, and I was like, oh right, that at no point was I and I'm gonna get a lot of Twitter followers.
No, I know,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
And we know that too. And
no, I know.
But to continue what I was saying about just the emotion and stuff, me and Colin freaked the fuck out. And
sorry, I interrupted you on that.
No, it's fine. For 20 minutes after that.
But also, Colin, wow.
I felt tingly, and it wasn't until a couple nights ago when I was rethinking about it. I haven't felt that type of tingle since back in middle school when I'd get IM messages from girls that do you like me? I like you type shit. You get that when it's that feeling of I got this. You know? And it's I had that for the first time in years. Yeah. And it's that's a weird thing to relate it to, but it was just there's this energy where it's fuck. Yes, we fucking did this. Greg fucking did this.
We did this. This is
so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, the speech, impeccable. And like you said, you can go along. You like speaking, that you have this energy to you, but you somehow didn't do that. You somehow condensed it, and you somehow said everything you needed to say. And like, you know, you definitely have gotten the praise for thanking the developers and all that stuff, because you really killed that. And like, I love that. I love how people the reception of that and everything. But my favorite part about it is you going up and the first thing you do is fucking just scream beyond at someone to scream beyond at you. And it's like, that was so raw and just like, that's what happened. That's the emotion.
Yeah.
And you just let that out. And that one word said everything you needed to say that the people needed to know.
Yeah.
You know?
What does that mean then?
That.
Huh?
That word.
Beyond, I believe it means like go beyond your dreams kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I've never heard it before. It was interesting.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
So many
to me.
people
it's like
shouted
something
it from
I
the
did a long time ago.
But that does say a lot about you, and it says a lot about you guys too, where it's like there are a lot of people who would have left a project behind and been like, don't scream beyond at me, I'm not the beyond guy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's like,
well, that's the rest
reason
of our
why
lives.
the reason why that moment, I think, just like was so wonderful in the beginning is because it just shows how you guys are, where it's like, oh, I'm glad that you like the thing.
Yeah.
Like I like the thing too. Like, yay, thank you.
Yeah, we
you know?
really liked that thing especially. So
Yeah.
it's cool that it's cool that we're still known for that, especially Greg.
I mean, you know.
But yeah, it was one of those things where I remember saying to Tim, I'm like, I don't care about the rest of the show. I like didn't pay attention to it, frankly, after that. And I was just on social media trying to like manage our account and get the shit up there and put out a tweet. And what I noticed about was that the tweet I put out about Greg, most retweeted thing we ever had on Kind of Funny Vids, at Kind of Funny Vids. The thing I put out on Facebook got seen by like 60,000 people. This was something that people cared about. I sent this to my family, the video, Greg's acceptance speech to my family. I put it on my own personal Facebook. It got like 1,500 likes from much strangers. It was something that resonated with people. I just sent it to people. I was like, this is Greg's coming out. It's not like, it is about Kind of Funny in a way, but it's not. And I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to really be about Greg because it's a culmination of his hard work. We all work hard in our own different ways, but this seemed to be most congruent with the way Greg works and what Greg deserves. You know, I would never want to be on that stage. You know, like I don't want it to be. I'm not out there. I don't put myself out there the way Greg does, so I shouldn't get the returns that Greg gets. So those kinds of returns, that kind of ultimate, like that ultimate return that Greg got that night, I think was fantastic.
But I think that the thing that's most analogous to me is, and I'm sorry, I know we just keep going around on this, but the thing that it's most
How the show
analogous
works.
to,
Keep talking about how great I am. No big deal.
no, is somebody was telling me about like the story of like the Lonely Island. You know what I mean? Like the Lonely Island is 3 guys, and the only one that really wanted to be famous was like Andy Samberg. And they all grew up together and they all grew up in the same town. And he was like, one day I want to be on Saturday Night Live. And they were like, okay, let's make that happen for you. You know what I mean? And it's such a testament to teamwork and how they work together that now you see Andy Samberg everywhere. You know what I mean? And you know those other 2 guys are there. And so that's what's great. You know, that's what was great watching and knowing you guys is like, oh, cool. Greg's the guy who does like that stuff and does want to be there, but I know that there's this team of supporters and team of friends that are all working because like that's the part of this that Greg wants and there's a part of it that you want. And so it's you guys, you know? Like guys together,
really,
it's all so good.
I think about this stuff so much, like not even just with awards and shit, but just like with the last year that we've had. And it's like it's crazy now that it's December. Like we're literally coming up on a year of doing this. And it's like, what fun is success when you have no one to share it with. And it's like, I've always been this way. Like even back in the day with Alfredo and stuff, or like with Kevin my whole life. It's like, I want someone to share these moments with, or else like, I want to be famous. Goddamn right I want to be famous. I want to be famous with people though. I've always wanted it. And now there's a fucking crew. We have a crew. And it's like, I want our crew to be this thing. And like you having this win, it's like, I'm so happy I get to share this with you because it's like, you'd have no fun if you couldn't share it with anyone. Yeah. You know, and it's like, I'm so happy about
So when are you cutting these guys loose?
And I was going to launch my Patreon on January 5th, 2016.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
Tuesday,
a good
that's
timing to do that.
It is one of those things where it was really cool to see, and we're real proud of you.
I mean, that was the thing, you know, like, so I, you know, give the speech. Sean walks me off. We walk backstage, and then it's back to the red carpet now to do interviews as a winner and take photos and all this different stuff. And that was the thing of like that when the text started coming in, like, because it was just insane, and then the tweets and all that stuff. It was you guys that stood out, right? Because we were sharing that moment even if we weren't together. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was that thing, and it'll be like a big deal to share and unbox the trophy together whenever it gets here. Like that was like, you know. That was the thing is like, you know, we always make jokes about how emotional I am or whatever, right? And like everybody always asks what the, you know, night and day, right? Of like, do you want to walk the red carpet? To everyone at that fucking place knew who I was and wanted to talk to me at the after party or say something or yada, which is amazing and awesome. So, I mean, like, when I was up there, like, everybody who met me at that after party wanted to talk about the speech. And since then, always asked me, you know, how much was I on the fly and da-da-da. It's like, I had bullet points because like I'm saying, like you know me so well. If I didn't, I would get up there and just ramble, right? And like so, I had it like my best man speech for Hayes back last year or 2 years ago, where it was like I know I need to hit these points, and this is my trigger to remember to go to here. But it was like I can, jazz it up and then wherever I want to. So like I was so caught up in that moment that it wasn't until I got back and took the photos for YouTube gaming, and then they wanted an interview, and that's when I started getting choked up, and it all started like catching up to me of what had just happened. And then I pulled it back together, did a few more interviews. Then Dunham came out of nowhere because they won the award right after me, and I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? We had made so many jokes leading up to the awards about like, look at us, man. We're back, 8 years ago when we were at IGN, this isn't how we thought this would play out. You know what I mean? And then like we're both back there together. And then I went back, sat down, and it's just I was lost in my phone for like 45 minutes trying to talk to everybody. And then I finally had to be like, I gotta stop and actually be cognizant for these awards. Because at one point I looked down, I'm like, and Christine's like, what? I'm like, they apparently, according to the internet, they announced a Telltale Batman game. They must not have shown the trailer here. And she's like, you were sitting right there when it happened. I was like, damn it, sorry. Feel like another planet right now.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Again, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We're
man.
so fucking proud
Thank
of
you
you.
very
Super
much.
well deserved.
Thank you
It was
guys.
awesome.
Yeah.
I want you to win again next year.
It's
Now
good to see.
I want you to be like the new like the Islanders dynasty of the early
Yes.
80s.
I'll bring this year's award next year.
Yeah.
Come up, have them both.
We'll put banners in the rafters.
So topic 2, we're talking a little bit about this thing called PSX.
Never heard of it.
Don't know if any of you guys would know, really. It's not like you guys had a panel there. It's not like you were fucking hosting live streams and shit or anything.
Oh, is that what I was doing?
I
remember
so
now.
I mainly want to talk about the conference. Now, the one thing we're not really going to get into is Final Fantasy VII because that'll be the next topic. So the rundown real quick. Of course, Uncharted 4 reveal of there's like choices in it.
Right.
We Call of Duty League,
Nathan Drake,
Battleborn.
Notary.
Yep. Street Fighter 5, Dead Star, Adult Swim had a whole bunch of games, including Death's Gambit, which looks fucking dope.
Does look really good.
Yes.
Day of the Tentacle Remastered, Psychonauts, a VR game, Don't Starve Together, Hitman Go, Yakuza 5 on PS3, Yakuza 0 on PS4.
Yeah.
It was
Last Wave 2.
it was full throttle, wasn't it? Not Day of the Tentacle. That was already announced.
Sorry,
So,
you're right.
yeah,
you're right.
They gave a date or whatever for
Day of the
Tentacle.
Tentacle and
then,
announced Full Throttle. Yes.
Full Throttle is my favorite one too, so I'm with
Yeah, it's
Patrick
great.
Klepek on that one.
King of Fighters 14.
What?
Team Ninja's new game called Neo, which kind of looks like a Onimusha Dark Souls.
Yeah, it looks
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Man. That came out of nowhere. That they showed that a couple years ago, and then it
It was a
disappeared.
different name though, I think.
It disappeared, and then it came back, and I was like, we'll get into it. But
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
looks very, very cool.
We got a debut of a game called Brutal that was kind of like this weird.
You're an at symbol.
Like ASCII.
Yeah. Guns Up, and will be the show and some stuff. Fat Princess Adventures. It's like, here it is, buy it today.
So exciting.
Ratchet and Clank, we saw a little bit of the gameplay. We saw a little bit of the movie.
Release date.
And release date, yes. I'm very excited about that. They had a little VR section. It started off with a disaster.
Broke my
Poor
fucking
guys.
heart.
Poor guys.
Yeah.
Dr. Richard Marks, we love you.
Richard Mark's hanging up his guitar to do a little VR.
yeah.
And he,
Every time I hear his name,
yeah.
every time.
That's why they say doctor, so you
Yeah.
know which one you're getting.
Then they showed Rez Infinite, which is a VR Rez.
we have things to say.
So
We have
much
things to say. Go on.
Eagle Flight, a Ubisoft VR game that looks dope as shit. And then Modern Zombie Taxico, which we'll see. Job Simulator,
That looks awesome.
legit.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea.
Golem, coolest thing I saw VR wise. It's like VR in VR.
The next one was the coolest
VRception.
thing I saw, I think.
100-foot robot golem?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the corgi. You
It
kidding me?
looks really funny.
Legitimate.
It looks so funny.
Ace Combat 7, which is a big announcement.
That's a huge announcement.
to people that care. And then Destiny had Sparrow League Racing. Ni no Kuni 2.
That's the biggest
Literally
one for me.
no one cares about that.
No,
I'm
not at all.
sure- no.
No, definitely not.
And then Paragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's about how it played too.
Yep.
And-
exactly.
And a trailer
So-
for this MOBA.
And ending with a thud. No offense to those guys. It's just not. That was an unfair position to put that game in.
There's
Final
obviously
Fantasy VII should have been at the end.
a master class on this on PlayStation I Love You.
Yes.
Or PS I Love You XOXO, where Colin and I go through and give it like a 2-hour rundown of all this. But that's the biggest problem is they should have taken Final Fantasy and put it at the end.
It would have honestly. It's so funny that even just that, it's the same content, but that would have
Yeah.
made the conference good.
Yeah.
People would have enjoyed
Pacing
it.
is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Paragon would have been the announcement. It's always good to start with a strong announcement from somebody do you recognize? And then you hit them with the emotions at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the surprise, the Final Fantasy
I didn't
thing,
think we
no
would see
one
gameplay,
would-
yeah.
would
Very
think
far
you'd see
along.
anything more this year. So like having
Now,
that,
for all we know, those 3 cut together minutes are literally
they
all
have.
that's
No,
working.
for sure.
But
yeah, it's like, but to me, I gotta fucking start this off, and we need to talk about this. All right, biggest thing of the entire show, the Crash Bandicoot shirt. God damn it!
I have talked to Sean about
it's
that
a red
shirt.
herring.
What did
I
he
have-
say?
I have spoken to Sean about that shirt, and he was being very, very political about it. He was being cagey. He wasn't giving me anything, but he did say, "This is the exact shirt that I wore when I started. When Crash Bandicoot was my first project. This is the same. This is my team shirt." And so I wore it out there. I was like, "Yeah, but the last time you pulled something like this, we got Vib ribbon." And he was like, "Oh, did we? Oh yeah, you're right. I was like, "So what are you trying to say with this shirt?" And he's like, "Crash Bandicoot is a very beloved franchise. I enjoy it. If Activision would like to have some talks, I would love to talk to Activision about the future of Crash on the platform." The end. But that cagey motherfucker knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
That's literally like a shot across Activision's bow. Like that's just like, "Hey guys, when I get 10,000 tweets about this, do you finally want to return my calls?" I think that's what that is.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that I don't think anything's in development for Crash.
Yeah, and
I think it is. I
upsetting.
think it's a total red herring, and I think it was calculated in the sense that he knew what he was doing. It's not like he's just gonna wear a Crash Bandicoot shirt out there and nothing's gonna happen. But when I saw that, I immediately thought of you, and I'm like, Tim's gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah.
because
He was flipping out.
because
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot's not gonna be at the show. But it was very Phil Spencer.
Dude,
kind
I
of
mean,
move.
that's the thing though, is like, Greg was next to me. I was like losing my shit when this was happening because we get there and the first thing that happens before the press conference even started was James Schuler like looks over at me like, Tim, and he shows me this picture on his phone on Twitter of Shuhei with a VR Neo Cortex hat on. And I'm like just hyperventilating. I'm like, Greg, look, it's fucking happening. I was like, I was freaking out. I'm like, all right, Tim, just be cool. Just be cool. Then the fucking conference starts and this dude walks out with the shirt and I'm like, I just couldn't believe it. Like I could not believe it. And then the thing ends and nothing happens. And then later we find out that we were talking to Shuhei about it. He was like, "Oh no, that was a Fat Princess thing. Someone photoshopped the Neo Cortex on it. It looked convincing."
It looks very
Yeah.
convincing. That's
Yeah.
why and there was no time to verify it. Because when I saw that, I was like, "Don't think anything of it, Tim."
Yeah.
And then when Sean walked out, I was like, "They wouldn't troll you, Tim. It's happening."
Greg,
Yeah.
Take
Greg,
off your
no,
pants.
he literally looked at me. He's like, I was like, maybe they're just fucking with me.
Tim,
man. It's
look
like-
under your seat. The new Crash Bandicoot game is there.
But Greg literally looked at me and he was just like, they wouldn't fuck with you like that. Like this.
And that's before we didn't know the Photoshop.
No,
One
yeah,
piece of fucking with you I can live with.
No,
Yeah.
but then even as this is happening, James then looks over at me. He's like, dude, Naughty Dog changed their PSN thing and it has Crash in it. And I'm like, this doesn't just happen.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? One day, Crash is just back. Like, no. And now here's the thing. Like, was it disappointing that there wasn't an announcement or wasn't something? Yes, very, very, very much so. If they ended the conference with that, I would have fucking been done. That was just like it. Because Crash, that is the one announcement I'm waiting for more than anything now that Final Fantasy VII Remake's already announced. So I was freaking out about this shit. But my biggest thing is I can't believe there was even any reference.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even the excitement I had over him wearing a t-shirt was worth it to me just because the fact that Sony's even mentioning Crash, I'm like, all right, cool. At least it's a possibility now. It's not happening. Like, I'm with Colin. Like, I know it's not happening right now.
Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't happening a week ago.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, Crash Bandicoot, PlayStation. There's still some conversations going on. But it's funny he says it's the exact shirt because, like, I've looked into this and I've been looking at it and I was like, that looks like an old shirt. This is probably
that's
something.
definitely an old shirt.
Because I was excited because there was like PlayStation insignia on it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's PlayStation, it's Crash. Like, there's no Activision shit on this. But
Yeah.
alas.
Yeah, that was pre-Activision involvement in that
Yeah.
IP. I saw that. I was disappointed in the sense that I'm like, I don't know, like Crash is not coming. And the Naughty Dog thing was a red herring too because I'm like, that would be such a waste of resources for Naughty Dog to ever touch that fucking series. So it's,
But for me, it wasn't so much Naughty Dog's making this game. It's more Crash is back. Let's talk
Yeah.
about him again. Because for the longest time, you think Naughty Dog and what they present and put out there, it's Uncharted, it's Last of Us, it's Jack and Daxter. Like they kind of just
Distance
were like,
themselves. They distance themselves
we're
from
not
their
with
legacy.
Crash. So to see him back,
yeah, I mean, maybe there's something in the works. I'm sure
think-
conversations have happened.
Yeah, and I think it's like you're saying, I think it's probably just good for you to know as a Crash fan that like they're thinking about it too.
Yes.
Like it's not just in a dustbin somewhere like, fuck it, Crash is never going to happen again. You know?
We hate Crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, otherwise, I think, and we've said this on PS I Love You, we can get more in depth on it because Greg and I really talked about everything, but it was disappointing. I think it was a very mediocre conference. The lack of any first party exclusives, AAA exclusives, was mind-boggling in terms of announcements. Mind-boggling. One of my predictions, which I thought was a slam dunk, was Sony Ben's game would be there. Sony Ben's been working on this game for a very long time. It was just really surprising that they just thought that they could somehow, I don't want to say get away with it because they can do whatever they want, but like they somehow get away with it. I mean, like somehow just get away with that. No, nothing from the first party here at all that you've never seen before. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. There's got to be one big first party announcement every year at PSX. I think that's like kind of what you're setting yourself up for. The people in that room do not care about the Call of Duty announcements. They do not care about this, the Battlefront stuff. They care. They're Sony PlayStation fans.
See, it's
they
funny
want
about that,
exclusives.
Because being in that room, people went crazy for the Destiny race stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
that
sure
was one of the biggest pops.
Well, Destiny is pretty closely associated with PlayStation. Like people think about them in tandem. Like, but when you think about like, it's really interesting because you're watching this long play by Sony to sort of like get the Call of Duty and Battlefront people over onto PlayStation. So like you're going to get these tepid sort of crowd reactions, I think, for the next couple years until finally one day we wake up and it's like, oh yeah, Call of Duty is a PlayStation thing, because it's going to take so long to pull that back from Xbox. Xbox has had it forever.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not saying that people aren't excited. I mean, we all play third-party games, and I like them. I'm just saying that, and the reaction when we've all been to many conferences. It's more exciting when you're there.
For sure.
Every
And
time.
that's
So
my
it's-
thing is I enjoyed the conference. The end was very weak, and the Crash stuff was
was really
disappointing.
bad. The end
But
was
like,
really
I
bad.
thought it was fun. And to leave that room and look at Twitter and everyone's like, fuck this. I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah, I didn't think I had no problem with the games that were shown. I just think that there were things that were missing. I think that I understand some of what Shuhei was telling us at our panel when he was saying, this is for the fans. Some of my predictions certainly were off base in terms of what they were trying to do. Like price cut predictions for PS3 and Vita, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a more consumer focus. You want to be in USA Today or fucking Wall Street Journal kind of stuff. You do that at E3. I get that, and that was a little off base for me. But you need to have big pops with games. And they didn't have many of those at all. Like I think with the exception of Final Fantasy VII, which was already announced, and some of the VR games that we saw, which were very impressive. Like we didn't even see The Last Guardian. We didn't even see Horizon. There was I reiterated on PS I Love You that the Horizon stuff that was shown at Paris Games Week was exactly what I saw behind closed doors at E3, which means no one has seen anything from that game except for this 1 10-minute sequence. And I was surprised that they didn't even say like, let's show you another 5 minutes. We have like that game's supposed to be out in less than a year. So we have a lot of questions about that game, and I'm sure that they have a plan. The same thing with The Last Guardian. This is a time to showcase your studios. This is a time people in that room know what Benda is. They know what Sucker Punch is. They know what all these things are. You might not, I think it would have been really fun, and I was telling Greg about this. I don't think we said it on the show, but to like just have 2 or 3 minutes with every first party, even if they don't have anything to announce, just say like, well, thank you for, have Evolution come out and say like, thank you for your patience with Drive Club, and here's what we're doing with this or whatever. Have Sucker Punch say out and say like, Infamous was a great success. We're hard at work on our next project. We have more to show you soon. Like this is the shit people care about, and I think that they kind of misread things the way they're supposed to go about the show.
But I think the problem with something like that is whether it's a fan conference or not, when you're broadcasting something out into the world, if you have like Nate come out and go like, yeah, we're working on a thing. We're glad you liked the last thing. We'll see you soon with a thing. That falls so flat on something that you're broadcasting. You know what I mean? There's a small audience there, and then there's the large audience that's watching worldwide, and you can't have people come out and be like, we don't have anything to show, but we're really excited because we'll have something to show soon. Like, that's going to fall
If people
flat.
are going to look into a guy wearing a t-shirt, they'll look into that.
Yeah, but I personally would love to create as much conjecture and buzz as possible at everything everyone's looking at with just subtle hints, or just I would tease the shit out of people. I would have rather been teased by 5 first-party studios and not have any idea what any of them are doing than just not see any of them.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see one fucking person from one of those studios.
I think next year I'd like to see panels on both days, and I'd like to see, like you're talking about, I'd like to see first-party developers all given like some time to either go back over things that they're doing or things that they want to do in the future. I think that would be kind of like, that's a little bit more fan-focused too, and feels more in place with a fan conference than putting it in the presser at the beginning, you know?
What's interesting to me though is like it wasn't The Last Guardian, it wasn't Horizon, it wasn't these like PlayStation first party things, but seeing things like Yakuza, like that got a huge pop, and seeing Ace Combat 7 and stuff. And I think that, so it's different. Like that was for the fans, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to see those games at an E3 press
No,
conference.
I think I agree with you. My theory is this: something was cut out off the end of that conference, and the conference ended early. And it was just there was just a conspicuous absence of something. And I'm not saying it happened the day of or the day before. I just think that there was a plan to show that, like to show. I really do think Sony Ben's game at some point in planning was supposed to be there, and I think, or maybe Santa Monica's, and I think that they just pulled back. And I think that they got the message loud and clear, and so I don't know if we have to belabor the point anymore, or fans have to belabor the point anymore. I don't think you're going to see a PSX conference like that again. I think that they know exactly what they have to do. Which is, the little announcements are great. The indies are great. Showcase the indies, showcase the Vita games. Obviously, you have to pay attention to VR and all that kind of stuff. That's all fantastic. I love small games. We're huge believers in VR. But you have got to have big pops from the first party. These people care about those games. They care about games that can only be played on PlayStation, not first on PlayStation, not indie games that have been on PC for 2 years, not all that shit. That's great. And we're excited about that too. But let's definitely, save something for PSX. And I think the problem they ran into is that, between E3 and then Paris Games Week and or Gamescom, depending on where they want to be next year, and then PSX, they have to cut one of these out. Like, I know it would be hard for them to do because they do have a very global audience, but E3 and PSX are almost 6 months apart. They're almost like as far apart from each other as they possibly can be. And that gives you a chance to have two massive shows with two massive sets of announcements.
Yeah.
And cutting out all of the filler in between, but you can't cut out TGS and you really can't cut out Gamescom because you have to talk to the European consumer and the Japanese consumer. So it's going to be very, very difficult. This reminded me of a TGS show.
Yeah.
Like like having been to TGS and really been a student of that show for a long time. That's what this reminded me of. Games. But it shouldn't have been that way. TGS shows have that complexion to Western gamers because we're not going to get 90% of the games that are being talked about there. So you're kind of passive and you don't really care about some of the stuff that's being shown. And I felt that this had a similar feel of games. I'm like, I care, but it's cool that you're releasing all these games. One of the confusing things that they did was they released like 5 games that day. And I'm like, that's a huge fucking mistake. I don't know why you're do it with one game. Do it with Final Fantasy VII.
And then,
but don't. You're just cannibalizing
Just
games.
put Crash Bandicoot
That's
under Tim's seat.
again, hashtag save the Bandicoot. We need to make this happen.
I think they're building up momentum. I think they want to make it big like that, and I think they want to do, but they have to give the conference a couple years to kind of get up some steam and get some more attention from the greater world at large for PSX before they can afford to sort of push those announcements there.
Sure,
but I think they want to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like everything we bitch and moan about on here. It's more complicated than it seems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stakeholders and a lot of things you have to worry about, and a lot of management
Plus,
of your portfolio.
we got 100-foot robot golf, dude.
So we're good.
That's
And the
it.
corgi, man.
That's it.
That
Yeah,
corgi.
I am stoked about that game. I think that game looks good. And I do want to say the conference was disappointing for sure. I was excited about a lot of the games shown. I think the show itself was a great success. I think Moscone West is a great venue for that show.
Yes.
And want to thank everyone again for filling up the room for PS I Love You XOXO, which was the response we got was really mind-blowing.
Incredible.
It was fun.
Fucking
I like
incredible.
it the same way. I like it for the same reason I like PAX, is because when you go to these conferences that are industry or press focused, everybody has an industry or press mindset while you're there, and so we're all very like, yeah, show me the thing, tell me all this, give me all the feeds that I need to like.
Here you get to celebrate.
Yeah, here it's like people are just like, I'm playing games. Are you playing games? And you're like, yeah, me too, man. I'm playing some games. Like, it's great. I like fan focused shows like this.
I know you're jumping to your next topic.
Yes.
Rez Infinite is fucking amazing. Yeah! We cannot let that happen. I cannot let this pass. I let you all talk about the conference. It must be said.
Did you wear the suit?
Fuck yeah, I wore the vibration
that fucking suit.
You
dog.
kidding me? Mizuguchi come and do the photos
He
around you and
He was
stuff.
all,
Yeah.
Him and John Drake and Shane were just like
Yeah,
grinding
that's
on
what
me.
they'll
Good.
do. They'll
Yeah,
do.
I loved it.
That game, dude, that's so good.
One of my favorite games of all time. During that conference, I heard the combo noise. I heard the bang, 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 bang,
Yeah.
bang, and I was like, oh shit, it's on. It's on. I've bought this game 3 times. I imported a trance vibrator from Japan. I'm about to do this again.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I put that thing on, man. You're fighting the boss, and you look behind you, and he's there. Like, I thought things were getting away from me, and I turned around and shot him. I was like, holy shit.
It's amazing because I like it for the same reason I like Super Hypercube as a way to push VR into people's hands. It has an aesthetic and a feel to it that works extremely well in VR. Everybody's trying to make these hyper-realistic worlds in VR. The technology is not there yet. It looks weird, it feels weird, it makes you sick. When you play something like Super Hypercube or you play something like Rez, it teaches you how to use the 3D space. It teaches you how to look around, and it looks clean and clear and crisp at whatever resolution these VR headsets are running at. I think it's just a perfect fucking game for VR.
Yeah.
Perfect game. Plus, it's one of the best games of all time, and I got to hang out with Mizuguchi, and I had a real good time.
That was awesome, right? That was I came in the room, and he's just there, and he wanted to chill out. I was like, yeah, let's talk about Rez. Yeah, how you doing?
Let's talk about Rez. Ladies and gentlemen, that topic brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd?
I would.
Good. This is a subscription box for you. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Not that long ago, and depending on where you live, not so far away, Loot Crate blasted off into a voyage across the galaxy, searching the far reaches of space to find universally awesome gear. Using December's Star Wars The Force Awakens loot as a launch pad, we landed on some equally cosmic items from Halo 5 and more. With an exclusive Funko Pop and an exclusive shirt in this month's crate, this is the loot that you're looking for. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend who knows what you love and sends you stuff every month, and it's awesome. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when that cutoff happens, that's it. It's over, Jack. Yeah. So, go to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription.
I like to think of you as my exclusive Funko Pop.
Ooh.
I want some Kylo Loren socks.
Kylo Loren.
Hello, it is I, Kylo Loren.
All right, guys. Third topic of
How
the day.
are you enjoying your baguette?
Third topic of the day.
But it's got the little guards at the end, the baguette.
Third topic of the day. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, Greg.
Cloud.
Yeah. No. So, okay.
Midgar.
We
So
saw
I heard the swords
a new
are even
trailer.
bigger because they have
There's
some
a lot of
new
nice
sword
fancy glare.
technology.
It was good. It looked.
Yeah.
It was a pretty
Hair's
sword.
on point.
Hair is definitely on point.
So on point.
So we saw a new trailer, which blew my mind because I did not expect we'd see that. Then afterwards, we get all this way more news about this game than I think we expected to get now.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, it's going to be.
Oh, did we get a
broken
release
up.
date?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's
the one
weird.
thing we'll never get.
Oh, did we get like new? Did we get like a huge amount of new gameplay or something?
What?
Did we get like a 10-minute gameplay clip
Oh,
or something?
no.
What do we get?
It's
Must
going
have
to
been
be broken up
Uh-huh.
into parts.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
You love parts. Wait, talk about it.
So what are you guys' thoughts on this, Colin? I'm sure you're thrilled.
Someone on NeoGaf said it was too good to be true, and that was like one of the first comments I saw after that, and I was like, yeah, that's a great way of putting it. The episodic thing is fucking nonsense. I don't care how they spin it. I don't care like what they say. It's fucking bullshit that they're doing that, and I don't believe in it for a minute. So I want to just say like I don't believe in what they're doing with this. I don't care what they're doing with it. There's no excuse to break this game into pieces.
You're going conscientious objector.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
The episodic. Okay.
It's not Final Fantasy. I don't even know where you begin with this. I'm not like in love with Final Fantasy VII by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's a great game. I think it's an important game, but it's certainly not the best Final Fantasy game, but it is sacred in some way.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure what they think they're doing. You know, like that's almost the way I feel. Like, what are you doing? Like what are you doing? It's not an action RPG and it's not an episodic role-playing game, and you're making a bunch of excuses about why you're doing this already, and it's a way for them to get the game out early and all that. Whatever.
I got some things.
Yeah, I remember that you really hate Final Fantasy VII. So.
We sat in a room where I railed on Final Fantasy VII for a very long time. So this is not coming from a Final Fantasy fan, but like you, it's the game that built the PlayStation. I understand the importance of Final Fantasy VII in people's lives. I don't mind I got excited as somebody who is not a fan of Final Fantasy VII when I saw the sort of Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy 15 combat system added in. I think that's interesting. I'm interested to see where they go with that. As far as episodic, that just makes so many things pop into my head, whether I like the episodic or not. I have logistical questions. I have logistical questions about the last 20 hours of that game when all you do is fly around on the overworld and just tie up loose ends and breed chocobos and get your villa and do all your different little things that you do. If this is episodic and the first episode is leaving Midgar, I go back to Midgar? Can I go back to Midgar at any time and finish things that I didn't do? As I unlock new parts, do they all connect somehow on my hard drive and technically and inside of my PlayStation and know that now I have the whole game and I can go back and do whatever I want? Or am I being ferried along in a linear fashion along the story points and different highlights of Final Fantasy VII? That's the scary thing. You know, if they release it episodically, but I get to go back and be free and the episodes are close enough together, then my arguments are more sort of academic. But if it affects the sort of feeling of freedom and the ability to go around in the overworld and do whatever you want, that's a huge deal. That breaks the game. How does that work technically?
See, I am completely on the other side of this, and I don't think that that's a surprise. Like, if I want Final Fantasy VII as it is, this game does not ruin that game. That game is there. It is now on the PlayStation 4. You can buy it. You can enjoy it, and everything about it is great. This is a different experience. And for PlayStation 4, modern shit, all that stuff, is it going to be more linear? Absolutely. Totally, it's going to be more linear. Is that a problem? I don't think so. It's going to be a linear experience that they're making. Like, that they're telling the story of Final Fantasy VII. The game, I think, is going to be way less about the freedom and the openness and stuff. And yeah, the people that really love Final Fantasy VII are going to be upset about that. Myself included, I get that. But it's like, give me something different. This is different. I love Kingdom Hearts. This looks like a way less floaty Kingdom Hearts, which I'm like, great. That's really cool. Looking at the battle system, it's very obvious that it's early because like there's like a summon option. It's like there's no way you can summon that early in the game. So it's like that's just there for the fucking demos and shit. So it's like I want to see where they take it all. The episodic thing, it's like there's so many reasons why that sucks. Me personally, I'm into it. I just want chunks of this over time. Does this mean we'll get this earlier? Yeah. Does it mean we'll get it soon? No. You know, I don't have these delusions that we're getting this game like this year anymore or like next year or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I do think that we'll get it earlier than we would have, at least a taste of it. Do I think that we're going to get a demo of at least the bombing mission when you buy Final Fantasy 15? I do.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to do
That's a
that.
good bet.
And I think that that's a smart idea to like, Square's been doing this in different ways. Like, how many people bought Final Fantasy Type 0 or whatever the hell it was called for the 15
I
demo?
paid $60 for that Final Fantasy 15 demo, and I'm totally fine with that.
But see, but that's the thing is like, but the people really, the people that liked it really liked it.
Yeah.
The people that weren't going to like it, they didn't like it because guess what? They weren't going to like it anyways. So it's like, I think that it's a smart thing that Square is doing. Do we agree with it? Is it, you know, what we want as gamers and, I want to spend $60 on this experience, finish the game, whatever. That's just not how things are anymore. And it's like, that sucks. But what I am thrilled about is you see that trailer and the story is there. You see the characters and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's what that character should look like.
I have no problem
I look
with
at
the
this
aesthetic.
and I'm like, I remember when Advent
Barrett
Children
should have
came
been
out.
in Oakleys from the beginning.
No, it's true. He should look
He
like
looks
Blade.
good in those Oakleys.
But like all the other
Those blue
characters,
blockers? How old is Barrett
I was
now?
most
No,
impressed.
they're definitely ugly.
I was most impressed looking at this trailer when it started, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're not showing Tifa. They're not like,
Yeah.
there's Sephiroth's not there. Like they're literally showing the beginning of the game, and it is shot for shot remake.
Yeah.
and it looks awesome.
Somebody on YouTube cut them together
Yeah.
side by side, and it was very, very interesting to
I mean,
watch.
it's like when she kicks,
Yeah.
they kick. Like it is, and that is the thing where to me, I think the most important thing that people are glossing over is the fact that it's like, yeah, they're changing the game, but the story, the Final Fantasy VII-ness of it is still there.
The moments.
How many micropayments do you think they're going to be in the Golden Saucer?
There'll be a ton. I mean, that's the thing is like, it's a modern game, and it's like,
Yeah.
anyone that thinks otherwise, it's like, is it too good to be true? Yes. There's no way that would have happened.
Yeah.
Especially with Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts coming out. Like, the fact that this is happening is unbelievable. But it's like, it is. And the fact that we saw another trailer at PSX, it's really happening. The fact that they're talking about being split
Should we
into
be
parts,
thinking of this-
they're preparing us.
Should we be thinking of this then more in terms of like a movie, more in terms of Hollywood movies, where it's like, well, you had your Batman, and now my kid has his Batman, and we got to be okay with that. Is that all right?
No, I guess so. It's one of those. This is one of those things where I'm like, I wish you could just get rid of this announcement and never have it happen at all, because it's, you know, I was excited about it when it was announced, and just because I was like, I know how badly people want this. Final Fantasy VI is my favorite Final Fantasy game, and I know we're never really going to get probably a remake of that. Maybe we will one day.
I think we will.
But
on
like,
a Nintendo
it makes
portable.
me scared now, because I think what they did with with 1 and 2 on PSP, that was great. I mean, 3 finally getting like proper 3 on DS was a big deal. 4 was, you know, the chibi kind of 4 look or whatever was cool, and they did it right. 4 actually was like really hard too. It was a hard. It didn't look like it was going to be a hard game, but it was way harder than the SNES version of the game, which was dumbed down. So to get 7 and to just see it kind of, it's going to be bastardized in a way, and I think that's I'm telling you, like, that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, man. I don't care like what they do to it aesthetically, because I think that the game, I agree with you, like beat for beat, I think, that's a really exciting moment. The way Final Fantasy VII opens with the bombing and stuff is a really cool opening sequence on the train, and it's full of kind of it's like a thriller, and you don't really know anyone, and Cloud's kind of like along for the ride, and you're meeting Barrett for the first time, and it's you don't know who Sephiroth is, you don't really understand what Mako is or what they're doing to the planet and all that kind of stuff. And, because there's a lot of Final Fantasy VII is an environmentalist game.
Yeah.
Which is lost on a lot of people for some reason. I'm like, it is absolutely a game about environmentalism.
It's got an environmental message.
Because of when you start getting into like the Advent Children, when they start doing the compilation Final Fantasy VII stuff, it changed what Final Fantasy VII was. It like Cloud is not this emo gothic hot topic kid that doesn't talk. He was like this brash, cocky asshole that eventually learns that like he's not who he thinks he is and all that shit. And it's like, what I like about this is it looks like they're keeping true to that. Like his design, it's Advent Children, but it's Final Fantasy VII.
The look, I have no problem with the look.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, this looks fucking awesome. And I felt the same way about the trailer when we saw it, with Cloud walking through, Midgar, whatever sector they're in. And it's what I have a problem with is what the gameplay looks like. And I also have a problem with who's working on the game, and what they're already saying about it. CyberConnect is working on this game. I told people that months ago. And there was, that rumor is old. And I heard the rumor that the same people that people wrote about it, and I was telling people that, and like, that's a lot of people are like, that's not true. And I'm like, it is. Like, CyberConnect is working on the game. They're not a bad developer. They make Naruto. They worked on Hack, which was a really beloved PS2 RPG series. And they're not bad, but what I'm concerned about is there are two things. A, Square doesn't have the internal resources, did not believe in this enough to do it internally, which is a huge fucking problem for me. This should be a game that is treated with all the respect and care that it deserves, not necessarily for me, but for the millions of people that are going to buy it, that want a Final Fantasy game from the Final Fantasy team. And I understand that they might not want to do that. And I understand that they might even, with so much loyalty on that Square team in terms of how long a lot of those people have been there, they might not want to work on that game. And I understand that there's a lot of logistics about that.
And at this point, we want? Is that what the millions of people want? Do they want that from these people that have made these games that we don't want?
Well, a lot of the people that have made the games we don't want did make the games we do want. So I mean, I know that's confusing. I know that's confusing.
You following all this?
But I'm talking about time has passed.
Sure,
they are not doing that. But
they're Final Fantasy 15izing a game that is about active battle system. Like, I was excited to see gameplay when they first started showing. I'm like, shit, it's gonna be awesome. I want to see how the camera turns. I want to see like what the enemy models look like. I want to see like
that's still there though.
It is, but and it is gonna have an active battle feel to it in terms of like it's not a pure action RPG. It's not Ys or something like that where you're running around hacking and slashing. It's clearly not that. It's menu based.
Fun,
but. Well, so Final Fantasy VII is fun.
No, I know totally, but here's my thing. It's like, okay, fine. So what we want is just a totally just up-resed version of Final Fantasy VII that is like just looking this way, and it's like Final Fantasy 13 battle system style stuff where Lightning's just jumping around doing all this crazy fucking shit, and all you're doing is waiting your turn, X, waiting your turn, X.
I think what they're doubling. I think what they're doubling down on. What they're doubling down on is when they released 15. That sort of look and the sort of the combat system of 15 appealed to people outside of Final Fantasy fans. I think that's what they're doubling down on. I think Final Fantasy VII is so beloved by Final Fantasy fans that they know that they have your money, they know that they have the money of the people out there, and now what they need to do is get a new generation of people to fall in love with Final Fantasy VII and care about it the same way that everybody in their, late 20s, early 30s does. And the way you do that is you make it look like Final Fantasy 15, which a lot of people who don't like Final Fantasy went online and went like, oh, this is a Final Fantasy that I think looks interesting. I think I'll play this Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's a huge amount of the gaming market that they just don't have right now.
Yeah, well, 13 lost a lot of people, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't want to be too pessimistic about it because we really don't know what we're having yet. I'm just looking at all the tea leaves. The one major thing that Greg and I were talking about is Gamatsu put up a translated thing from Famitsu where they were talking about, CyberConnect is working on this game in some respect. And they had alluded to, and I don't know if it's the translation or what we're talking about, but they alluded to maybe even other teams working on it. And the one major thing that they said...
teams you may not know.
Maybe not. Like
dark teams.
So I'm interpreting this as two things.
Code Black.
Like when you see Santa Monica's logo on a Sony game, they didn't make the game. They didn't work on the game. Unless it's a God of War game or Kinetica, they didn't make it. They produced it. And that's like, so everyone's like, well, they're just, CyberConnect's just contributing to it. And I'm like, I'm not so sure that's true. What it sounds like to me is that they're making it and Square is producing it. And we don't know if that's true or not. I do not know. That's how I read into it.
It feels true.
But the one thing that,
feels right.
Truthiness. The one thing that really concerned me is I think it was Katase or someone over there was like, our vision, like he basically said, like our vision and CyberConnect's vision not the same.
That's why they recut the trailer.
Yeah, right? and I'm like, that's a huge fucking problem. Mm-hmm. Like why are you even letting a company that does not understand what you want make the game? So there's already all of these, and again, things are lost in translation from Japanese all the time. I've been covering Japanese games for a long time. We know that happens, but from what I was reading on Gamatsu, and that's a very reliable site for Japanese news, translations and all that kind of stuff. I was reading, and I'm like, fuck, man, like. this doesn't. I want to be wrong about this because this is so important. This game is important. You know, Square has become a more Western-oriented company with, you know, Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and Hitman and all these games that they publish. They have lost a lot of their credibility with the fans like me that have been playing their games for a very, very long time, for like 25 years. And really, when they were Squaresoft, when they made some of the best games of all time. And so they need us back. And I think that, to your point, that's maybe what they're aiming for. And Final Fantasy 15 looks great. We played it at PAX East and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm optimistic about that game. I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't believe it's going to come out next year, but we'll see. I'm just concerned about don't fuck with it too much.
Yeah.
Because that's not what anyone wants. I'm sorry, like I don't know any Final Fantasy VII fan that's like, I want you to remake Final Fantasy VII in a game that is unrecognizable.
But I mean, that's the thing. You're talking about like literally just the battle system. Like, because so far that looks very recognizable besides the battle system. And even then, it's not like it's drastically different. Like when you look at the areas, like there's so much side-by-side comparisons where it's like not just the scenarios they're in, but it's actually the environments where like they're fighting in that like the circle with the fountain. And it's like that's straight out of the pre-rendered background, but now it's an area you can explore.
Yeah.
And they're adding stuff. And in the original game, when Avalanche blows up an explosion and then it just cuts to them after the explosion, now it's them Lara Croft style going through the rubble and stuff. Like they're just gonna make it. They're just gonna add to the experience, and like to me, it's not unrecognizable.
I'll say this: by doing this, by saying that they're doing this, by committing to this, they are taking on what is probably going to be one of the hardest and most thankless jobs in the history of gaming.
No matter what,
they were setting themselves up to lose.
No matter what, it'll never
do.
be as good as the original.
Yeah.
And there's a tricky thing about remaking something not as it was, but remaking it the way people remember it, which is a really scary thing to have to do, which is like, what gave you the feeling of Final Fantasy VII? What did you enjoy about it? And how do I make that enjoyable to you now? And it has to kind of be reinvented in a way because that game is old. And that game is like, look, we have CDs. Look, we have 3D graphics. Look, we have video. You know, and you can't double down on that. So what do you do? What do you change? How do you make it exciting?
That's why I'm excited about it. Because I look at it and it's like, this is Final Fantasy VII. For like not what I remember of it, but just like the feelings of it. It's like, I know that the gameplay is different and stuff, but it's like, we'll see. It looks good to me.
As a non-Final Fantasy VII fan, somebody who's tried multiple times on multiple platforms to get into it and just doesn't work, I'm excited that it's different. Yeah. Like that does make me want to play it. That's the pro column of what's happening. The con column is the episodic structure being such a red flag for me. In the fact of, number one, I think it means that, this gets it out earlier. They get it out faster. Otherwise, you'd be waiting forever for this game. But then keep in mind that, like, how many times Square went out of their way to update the Final Fantasy 15 demo? You know what I mean? Like, what we're talking about right now is it's going to be under a fucking microscope. And I have a feeling every little thing that's said about it, they're going to think about, well, do we want to make episode 2 different? Do we want to change it? Then do we go back and update episode 1? And like, what happens when it's going to get into this thing where it's going to be, here's episode 1, and then 6 months to a year, here's episode 2, then 18 months to, then 20.
Oh my God.
Where's the fucking finish of this game going to be?
But that's what's scary, because that goes back to what Colin was saying, is like, don't fiddle too much, because what you're doing is if you do that, if you're depending on all this feedback and the episodic structure to let you know what to do with this game,
you'll never get it.
Not only do you have design by committee, but you're basically doing like the Pontiac Aztec of gaming, right? Where everybody sits in a room, or the Homer, the Homer car, where it's just like, I want 8 horns, and I want this, and I want that, and it's just this design by committee where it's like, it will become nothing. They'll try to be everything to everyone, and it'll wind up being nothing to no one, because they just can't stop tweaking. Tweaking.
And this is the major concern, is just, I want to believe in this. I just think that there's so many problems. All right, CyberConnect's going to develop the game. They're a capable studio. They can handle the game. Let them make their game and just release it when it's done. Like the whole thing of like the game's too big and all that. I'm like, Final Fantasy VII is not too big. I'm sorry. Like, I know Final Fantasy VII. It is not much bigger than its contemporaries, and it's definitely not bigger than the Western role-playing games that we're getting today. Yeah, but not even a little bit.
But to the level of detail that they're remaking these environments, if they were to go forward and do that with all those other areas, it is bigger. There's the amount of things you're doing in it is bigger. If you were to add all the voices to all of the lines of dialogue that they're having, like, it is. It's
big, but Final Fantasy VII is a big game, but it's not an enormous Japanese role playing game compared to like it's just not like if they can voice Final Fantasy 15 the way they're doing it and they can do all that kind of stuff, then they can certainly do it to Final Fantasy 7. I would even say that like in some ways a game like Final Fantasy 6 is in some plot ways just as dense, you know, and I will say that.
Yeah, but,
you know,
they're not remaking 6 this way.
But I was going to say that they're not remaking 6 this way. But there is a cautionary tale at 6. They just released the iOS and Android port of 6 on Steam, and people are finally realizing, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah,
you know, like
it was a bad port.
Like it's like, what did you do? And this was
that was the graphics. That's because they took the same game and just changed the graphics.
But they changed more than that. They changed some of the translation. They changed the UI, which is awful. Awful UI in the battle, like just looking at the screenshots. So it's just a cautionary tale of, you know, we want something exciting. I want them to tweak and tinker with things and tell the story that they want. A lot of those guys worked on Final Fantasy VII, and I'm sure that they want to go back and change some things that they wish they can change. But you do not want to like reinvent the wheel with this game. I think if they go too far in one direction, it's going to blow up in their faces. This is, you know.
I heard they're doing it so every character that lived dies, and every character that dies lives.
That is
this
an
time.
interesting
That would be an interesting game.
Like-
I just think that they're starting, you know, for a company that I really do believe has lost a lot of its credibility in some ways, with the exception of a few examples in the last few years with Japanese role playing game fans that were fans of them to begin with. I think that they recognize with Dragon Quest that they're going back to traditional Dragon Quest. They fucking made that perfectly clear after Dragon Quest X. Everyone was like, "Why the fuck are you making an MMO out of Dragon Quest?" They, you know, because they wanted to do what they did with Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV. That was a mistake. They're making a traditional game. They gave us our Musou with Omega Force and Tecmo Koei with Dragon Quest, and they're treating that series now with a lot of care again. And they've always treated that franchise with a lot of care. That franchise to them is actually, I think, even more important than Final Fantasy, especially in their home country. And so I think they're starting to learn similar lessons with Final Fantasy 15. Reinvent, but don't reinvent too much, and make something that fans are going to want. This is something, for this to be a game that's going to resonate with people, it does have to find a new audience, to Anthony's point, but it also has to resonate with the people that loved it to begin with, or it is not going to have the resonance they don't. Man. And the episodic thing is a huge red flag, and we should be very concerned about it. If they give us like the first 10 hours of the game and we have to wait 2 years for the next one, and I would not put that past them, you know, that's an issue for sure. But again, it's all conjecture. Yep. I want more information. I need more information. I need Square in the West to talk.
Get Square on the phone.
No, I need Square. Square needs to talk.
Yeah, but you know, like I'm happy they're talking. Like the fact that we're hearing this, the fact that they showed the goddamn battle system, that's a statement. That's them saying, I know you guys are talking. Is it going to be active time battle? No, it's not. It's not. Here it is, you know? And they're talking, it's going to be in parts. We're putting that out there. So it's like, I'm shocked we're hearing this much, because I thought it was going to be not until TGS next year we might see something. So at least this means things are happening. And again, I want to make this really clear. I am being very optimistic about this.
And I'm being very pessimistic about it. So
I want this to be good. I want this to be all these things.
I don't care.
I know they're gonna fuck it
I'm
up.
a little hungry.
No, I really,
hungry about it.
Want
this
that
is one of those
Batman
announcements
Telltale
that I've waited for forever, and I want to just believe that I'm gonna get something. And so it's like I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm gonna look at the good in this, because there's a lot of good. There's a lot of things they're doing right that's making me real happy that I thought they'd fuck up.
I mean, yeah. Right now we have 2 minutes, choppy, clip. And all we can do is be glass half empty or glass half full about it, you know. And
I'm definitely glass half empty about it. But I want to make clear that this is one of those things that I'm like, it's like my Uncharted 4 delay prediction. Like, I hope I'm totally wrong. I hope I'm fucking cool. I hope they
got caught up in a lot of paperwork is why they had to delay.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where like this is not something I wish. I want this game to fucking kill. I want this game. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy 15. I hope Final Fantasy 15 blows us away, because we need it.
Yeah.
God, was Final Fantasy 13 a disappointment. I want us to get exactly what we need from these guys. They can capture their mojo again and become the Square and Square Enix that we know and love, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to what you're talking about it not being that big, or it being big, or whatever, it's like Final Fantasy 13, everyone made fun of it for being just a hallway. And there was no towns, you know? And that was the thing.
So
it was a big game, but it's all just straight. And then like the open areas, just
40 hours in.
These huge fucking plains, you know what I mean? Of just like,
so
just
boring.
nothing in it and boring. And 15, I mean, again, just looking at what it is, it looks like that. So that's why 7 to me, I'm like, I think it was that big, because 7 is towns. Towns.
7's big. I mean, 7's a big game. My whole argument though is that it is not like that's not a valid excuse to me. Like, you know, it's not like no one played Final Fantasy VII in 1997. I remember buying it. I bought my PS1 for it. I remember, and I remember playing it and being obsessed with a lot of role playing games on PS1. It was a great machine for them, just like the SNES was. And I didn't walk away from Final Fantasy VII being like, I walked away from it being what a great game. That was a great game, very memorable game. I didn't walk away from it being like, wow, that was fucking way bigger than every other game.
Well, I
I
know,
played.
but games aren't like that.
But we get big games all the time, man. Like if you want to go back to like an Uncharted or a Tomb Raider or something like that, we get games with giant environment. Just that Nathan Drake is hanging on a string, like trying not to die in that E3 demo. And like that's huge. It's like miles of land that they're making. Like games are huge.
Yeah.
And if you're just saying like, hey, we have to release it in an episode because games are big.
That's what they're saying, right? I mean, that's what they're saying.
I see what Colin's saying, where it's like that just doesn't ring true to me.
But I'm talking about the level. It's like when we're getting into the weeds about the meaning of big. Because I'm saying 13 was big. 13 had these big planes. Modern role-playing games now have these big areas.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII has detailed areas.
It has dense towns, like it does. It has dense environments, but it has a lot of like empty space on that map too. Like I just don't think it's.
I'm just saying when you
You
look
can't
at
just
the
be like it's
comparison
episodic
pictures-
because it's big. I think it's episodic because we're Square, because we take a super long time to do things, because we don't really have a strategy for this yet. I think there are actual nuts and bolts reasons for why this is episodic, other than it's big.
No,
I
for
think
sure.
it's big is a fine reason, but it's not the whole picture.
And I'm totally with that. And that's me being optimistic
Yeah.
about this. I look at this, I'm like, all right, they're learning from Final Fantasy 15. They're learning from not being able to fucking go back and change shit. I'm hoping. This is not true, but I'm hoping. And they're like, we need to just do the episode Deuce shit of just Final Fantasy 7 part 1, part 2, part up to 7. Who gives a shit? Just like, this needs to be reliable, and we need to just put it out and move on.
The one thing I will say as we close this out this topic out is I'm not convinced this is going to come out as an episodic release. Like I think they're going to see the feedback and be like, we can't do this. Like we can't. I haven't seen one person think this is like, until we're talking now. I don't think you even think it's a good idea.
I think you're devil's advocating it. I think
I
you would
don't
rather
think- I
have it
haven't
all
seen
at once.
I'm
one
talking
person
about
say this is a
personally
good
for the
idea.
way I play games. I'm totally down for this.
Yeah.
I'm totally down to get Final Fantasy 7. My biggest problem is the having to wait between releases
Yeah,
thing.
oh my God,
Like if
dude.
they're
And
if
you
they
will
give
wait
me,
forever.
But if they give me a calendar where it's like you'll get 10-hour experiences every 6 months, I know that's not going to happen. But
might.
I'm like, I'm down for that. That sounds cool to me.
You will
Keep me
bequeath
excited. It's like
Your
Smash Bros.
GameStop pre-order for Final Fantasy VII Episode 96 to your grandson.
Yeah, I think
I put $5 down.
it's one of those things where
2015, and all this is yours.
I think it's one of those things where I don't think there's a good chance, but I think there's a chance that they're going to go back and be like, we can't. Like they're probably talking about it now. They're being like, man, this is a big deal, and it's not, and people are not happy about this, and maybe we should just disappear for a little while and like just finish it and release it when it's ready.
Disappear, bro. Just the entire Square office is empty
the
tomorrow.
fuck is
Like they
going
all
on?
disappeared.
It's like that Julianne Moore movie. They
Yeah.
peel the wallpaper back, and there's like a Square logo.
Square was never here.
they need to learn more lessons. If Final Fantasy 15 comes out next year, which it's apparently going to, that game was announced 10 years before it came out. Kingdom Hearts 3, God knows when you're going to see that fucking game. So
Goofy says this year.
he said that. Yeah. So it's just they need to just
trustworthy
learn that
about
it's just
Goofy.
like don't announce your games too early, or just announce them and disappear for a little while. I mean, it's the way we used to do things. I don't think we should do them anymore like that. I think we should announce games way closer to launch.
Bless
But
you.
I understand. Bless you. I understand when people are excited, but there's so many red flags, and it goes back to that comment I saw on NeoGAF. I'm like, yeah, too good to be true, But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully.
So we had to take a break.
And while we
Because-
did it, Anthony Carboni turned into Portello.
Look at those ears. He has better ears than he used to have. Oh my God.
I call him all-terrain Portillo sometimes.
Sometimes it makes sense when he's on tables and shit. So Anthony left. He had to go. So if you like him, go to patreon.com/acarboni. Go check out his shiznit. As always, this last topic brought to you by the Kind of Funny forums. Go over there, kindoffunny.com/Gamescast topic. Leave your topic. We'll get to them. Just like my boy Trevor Starkey did. He says, hey guys, now that Minecraft's on the Wii U, do you think that it'll move Wii U systems?
No.
I don't either. But I do think it's interesting that Nintendo made a big deal that, we have an announcement. Not the biggest deal, but they're like, we have something big coming on Monday. And then it was Minecraft.
What I was talking
I
about
was
is
shocked that it wasn't there already. I thought
it has to
was.
be some kind of deal, right? That the reason this is happening is because they can port it then easier to NX, and it can be an NX launch title too and just be there. That's my my theory
What's
on
weird
why.
is, so it came out, and at least as of right now, you can't do management and stuff with the gamepad. It's just a screen.
Exactly.
So it's like, They
Exactly.
said they're going to add it, though.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm sure they will. Now that they've said something, but it seems like it was timed with something.
So then, Wolf8047 says, what prequel games would you love to be made?
Ugh.
Prequels.
Give me a prequel to Infamous, where I just play Cole and he's just a bike messenger, and it's just a Paperboy clone, and it's on Vita. Done.
What if Paperboy was?
On Vita?
No, the prequel to Infamous. The Paperboy is.
The
The prequel that I always wanted back in the day that I don't think I'd want so much now, but definitely when the time was right, I would have loved a Final Fantasy X prequel that was the pilgrimage of Jecht, Auron, and Yuna's dad. I don't remember what the fuck his name was, but them doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And the original story that they keep alluding to and stuff. I always thought that would have been pretty cool.
I don't know.
It's something I think about, right? I don't really think about prequels.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, there are series that are really good about filling in timelines, like Castlevania, where there's no need because there's just so much. There's so much story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to give a bad answer, so I'd rather just not say anything at all.
Okay.
You know?
How would you feel if I told you we're gonna do an Uncharted game that's just young Drake?
Nah,
Okay.
I wouldn't be happy with that. My
What
least
if-
favorite part of Uncharted 3.
really, I think it's an awesome
What?
adventure. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
But
That's crazy.
But that's what makes it special is that you only do that once.
Okay.
Did not
What
know.
about now that I've said Infamous? What if you did play as alternate? What if you played as Kessler and it was Kessler's story? That could be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
We could even start it at a different point where we're just playing.
I'm sure I have an answer that's good, but I just can't think of it right now.
Okay. Brash Candipoot says, Christmas season is upon us, and it gave me an idea for a topic for you guys. What's the greatest gift gaming has ever given you? Cherished moment, relationship, etc. A girl from college invited me over to play Guitar Hero 3. She's now my wife of almost 5 years and mother of my 2 children.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guitar Hero. Happy holidays to the whole Kind of Funny crew. Happy holidays to you, Brash Candipoot.
I hope they started playing good strip Guitar Hero.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my favorite game.
Yeah.
That was Guitar Hero 4, I think. The one that had the strip option.
I didn't know this
I'm
existed.
joking. I'm just being funny.
Okay. I was like, damn.
My favorite Christmas gaming gift is Prince of Persia Warrior Within, because I was not old enough to buy the game because it was rated M for mature,
Right.
and I was
Not mature.
T for teen at the time.
Gotcha.
And I didn't think I was going to get it, but Kevin's sister got it for me. One of the few positive things that
She's
that
ever done.
creature has brought into my life. I thank her for that, and that alone.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
harsh. So yeah, Christmas games. I mean, like things that pop out. I've talked
That wasn't
about,
the question.
well, that's how he just took it though.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that's not how.
Okay,
I'm
well, that's
manipulating
like-
it.
I mean, well,
I like that
took it
idea.
that way
Yeah.
because I feel like obviously, like, oh, our jobs and our
Right, right, right.
careers
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the answer to the other.
Sure.
stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So all right.
So
we'll
I mean,
take-
yeah, the one I've talked about before, and I'll say again is Royal Rumble on the Sega Genesis. And then my cat barfed on it, but
Yeah.
Sega Genesis had those like nice, cases. Didn't have to worry about it. And then of course my N64, because my N64 was hidden like Little Red Ryder BB gun style. Whereas like so clear I was gonna get an N64 for Christmas that year, and then you finished all your presents and you didn't get it. And my parents sent me downstairs or something, and on the way back up, you saw it on the hall tree. And I was like, yeah, good call, Mom and Dad. And it was that fat Sam's Club bundle.
Ooh.
So it had the system and Mario and another controller and all that stuff bundled right
Yeah.
there.
Mega Man 3 I got for Christmas. Link to the Past I got for Christmas. Those are the 2 big ones from when I was a kid that I was like super, super excited about. So I would say those.
Yeah. Good answers. Good answers. It's like Family Feud.
Let's see the board.
Hamood07 says, hi guys, what superhero, besides Superman, Greg, would make a great video game? And what do you think of a beat 'em up Justice League game like Castle Crashers? I think it'd be cool. I think that would be cool too.
Yeah.
I wish that there was more little things like that going on.
I
with,
wish that, I mean, like,
Marvel and DC
we,
stuff.
that's the thing is every so often they loan the license out and they do something like Scribble Knots, DC Scribble Knots. Like, that's a fucking great idea. Why don't you do more goofy shit like that? You know what I mean? You said that, and it springs to mind the thing I've been pitching forever, which now has gone in 2 radically different directions, which I imagine means it'll never come back to my direction. But an Invincible Telltale game would have been awesome because Invincible has the exact same problems Superman has, but in a Telltale game would be fine. But then we put Batman in there, which is interesting because Batman's been done well the other way. So
yeah.
that would be good. You always want a Green Lantern game, but then you're like, well, it just doesn't work because it's never. This guy can imagine anything, and all I can imagine is a hammer and a fucking jet plane. I was like, oh, that sucks. Flash could be cool, but it would be it's a similar thing of like, how do you mix in a meter that slows down time when in reality he should be able to slow down time anytime? But it's focus. It does take focus.
Yeah. I can't really think of any. Like Spider-Man's Iron Man. Iron Man could be a really cool game.
Yeah. They took a lot of shits on it trying to. But
Yeah. I think it could be there.
Yeah.
It could be there.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Iron Man?
Iron Man.
Okay, Iron Man.
Zed says, hi guys, long time, first time. StarCraft 2 Into the Void is out in the world and no mention in the Gamescast. What are your thoughts on the game? I was hoping that Carboni would still be here for this because he might have something to say. Our thoughts are we don't play those games.
So that's why we don't talk about them.
those games.
Yeah. No disrespect to them. We understand
People
StarCraft.
love them. Sean Finnegan is like super jazzed, jizzing everywhere. That's what happens.
Like the Star Wars music?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you know it's called Jizz? Was that this show? No, it was a different
No, it was
show.
a different show. That's
we're
a look
jumping
into the
around here.
future. Time
Yeah.
is broken.
Sabi says, hey, coolest dudes in video games.
Hey.
I was wondering if Colin ever continued playing Persona 4 Golden and if he plans to play Persona 5. Also, I want to know if Tim had any interest in playing a Persona game. Love the show, and thanks for being some of the best friends in the world.
No, I never got back to it, and I'd like to play Persona 5, but it's not going to be a priority to me unless I would like to play 4 first. I'd feel like a poser if I didn't just jumped into 5. So I know they're not interconnected, but
I'm very interested in it. 4 is one of those things where it's just like, I feel like it's too much time to invest into something. I feel like it's too late to invest at this point. 5, definitely interested in giving it a shot.
It's not too late to invest in 4.
I think it is.
Just to say.
I think it is.
I don't think it is. You have that Vita.
I know.
You have
I do.
sexy Nathan Drake, right?
I
Is
still
that what you
haven't
call him?
beaten Drake's, whatever the fuck it's, Golden Abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drake's Golden Abyss.
Drake's Golden Abyss.
Drake's coffee cake.
Yeah. Murder of Birds.
Oh my God, dude, calm down.
that's a group of birds. Is a murder.
Well, I learned something today.
Really?
Thank
Yeah.
you, Colin, for teaching me.
That's weird as shit. Greetings, Tim, Colin, and Greg. I started playing the first Wild Arms games for the first time, having only played the sequel during my childhood. When I noticed that the currency for the game is called Gala.
Gallia.
I'm gelling.
And this got me thinking, amongst the three of you, how many different forms of currency can you
Ugh.
remember across all video games?
I'm too tired for this question. I don't know if I can answer this question right now.
Rupees, gold. Yeah.
Coins in Mario, rings in Sonic.
Yeah, dollars.
Kingdom Hearts has money with a U.
Simoleons
M-U-N-N-Y.
from Sims.
I would love to jump down this rabbit hole, but I can't.
Yeah.
Credits.
Blood.
The red orbs in Devil May Cry.
Souls and Soul Sacrifice Delta.
Bells in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's a good question. It's
It
a great
is.
question.
It is.
But I don't
Silver.
have the mental capacity right now. I got to dig too deep.
What's that made up Italian money they used in Assassin's Creed 2?
I don't know.
Poop money.
Pokemon has that
Poop
weird
money.
thing.
That was it, all right. Ezio, you got more of that poop money?
I don't know if it's just Pokemon, but it's like that weird like P looking sign. I don't know what the fuck that is. It might be some
Polka
Japanese
dollars.
thing. All right. Zeke Meister says, what are your first impressions on Far Cry Primal? From what I've been seeing, it has been getting very mixed reactions. And while I understand that taking guns out of Far Cry is something we never thought we would see, it still seems like a very cool concept, and it will be made with Ubisoft's brilliant engine. I think people need to give it a chance.
I think it looks cool.
I'm gonna give it a chance. I think what I've seen looks interesting. Yeah, the gun, there not being guns hasn't had me hung up. The fact that I haven't played it is like, all right. I just keep seeing trailers for it. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
The other question that we keep getting over and over and over is update on the Kojima Konami conspiracies and stuff.
Sure.
I feel like we've talked about that a lot.
Right.
I
We
want to
talked
give
about that on PS I Love You.
I want to give it a little bit more. Okay, cool. Check out PS I Love You episode 13.
Yeah.
Baker's dozen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Baker's dozen. Yes. Check it out. And they talk about it there. I want to wait a little bit. We'll revisit that at some point, I'm sure.
With a special guest, Hideo Kojima.
We can only hope. That'd be fucking amazing.
I'll get people's hopes up, Greg.
Yeah. All right. That topic brought to you by Loot Crate's new thing called Level Up. Level Up is a monthly mystery apparel subscription from Loot Crate. You can get 2 different pairs of high-quality socks, 1 to 2 fashionable accessories, or a wearable item like a long-sleeve shirt or lounge pants. Same themes as Loot Crate every month, and it serves as a great companion to your loot because there's no repeats. Each month's theme is inspired by all your favorite pop culture brands like Star Wars, Doctor Who, and Fallout 4, and often contain high-quality exclusives. Go to lootcrate.com/KFG promo to learn more. Use code KFG promo to save 10%. This month's theme is Galaxy, with Star Wars items perfect for Jedi, Padawans, Rebels, serious fans of Star Wars alike.
Watto.
Again, that's KFG promo. It's a new one for you guys.
All one
Enjoy.
word?
All one word.
Okay.
KFG promo.
Gotcha.
LootCrate.com/KFG promo. Promo code KFG promo.
Jack.
Jack. That's it. It's over.
I love Jack.
Thank you guys for joining us this week. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you,
you.
Anthony Carboni and Portillo Carboni.
Kevin, do me a solid. Will you put in? I want it to look like in Star Wars. Give me a ghost of Anthony Carboni right here, please.
Force Ghost Carboni.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. I love you.
Thank you.